action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com. And oh baby, we were cooking with gas yesterday's 7-0 show for Ian and I. 4-0 for me, all on Major League Baseball. 3-0 for young Ian there. We can't get too high on one performance though, but what we will look to do is bring that winning energy into today. And in honor of that 7-0 show, I have 7 picks across the NBA and Major League Baseball. A couple topics, kind of weighing in on those in the second half of the show. Before we get into the picks, guys, do me a favor. You know the drill. You know what I'm going to ask you. The like button right down there. There's a subscribe button right down there. Give each of those a click. Lets us know that you enjoy the program. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get right into the action. We're going to start things off in Major League Baseball. We got the Cubbies in Cincinnati to take on the Reds, and I'm going to take the Cubs. First 5 money line coming in at -134. Hayden Wesneski on the bump here for the Cubbies, and this guy is the real deal. 25-year-old debuted last season and impressed with a 2.18 ERA and .94 WHIP in 33 innings of work. He picked up where he left off and continued to impress in spring training, a 2.25 ERA across 20 innings pitched. For what's worth, he allowed 1 earned run across 11 innings versus the Reds last season. Different story for a Reds starting pitcher and Yankees legend Luis Cessa, who gets a start here for the Reds. At home last season, he was absolutely awful. A 6.08 ERA, and the Cubs smacked him around pretty good last season, too. He had a 5.14 ERA and 14 innings of work against them. Give me the Cubs first 5 money line. Next up, another first 5 inning bet. You're going to get a lot of those here on Chasing That Paper this baseball season. This one comes to us from the Rays and Nationals game. I'm going to take the Rays to go over their first 5 team total, 2.5. That one coming in at -115. And no need to sugarcoat it. This is a big fat fade of Chad Cole. This guy is a total punching bag. He was awful last season with the Rockies and actually worse on the road compared to Coors Field. He finished this season with a 5.72 ERA, and among 124 starters who threw at least 100 innings, he ranked 121st and 5th. And check out this stat. So the Rays have to go over 2.5 runs in the first 5 innings. Cole allowed 3 or more runs in 13 straight starts to end 2022. He picked up where he left off in spring training, where he was awful. He had a 5.09 ERA in spring. And Rays, yeah, it's early, but they're looking pretty good at the plate in the first handful of games here. 6th in OPS, 5th in WRC+. Give me the Rays to go over their first 5 team total, 2.5 runs. Next up, it's time for a walk prop. Walk prop time. Chris Bubik on the mound here versus the Blue Jays. Do we have any fans of Chris Bubik watching the program today? I'm going to take Bubik to go over 1.5 walks versus the Blue Jays. Let's get right into this one. Bubik! This guy was an absolute walk machine in 2022. The 4th highest walk percentage among starters with at least 100 innings last season. Control remained an issue in spring training for Bubik. 2 walks in each of his last 3 spring starts, which, despite a relatively low pitch count in each of those games. Pretty good plate discipline for the Blue Jays here so far. 5th highest walk percentage, the 8th lowest strikeout percentage. Expect to see them see a lot of pitches in this one versus Bubik over 1.5 walks. All right, let's keep on rolling here. The A's playing host to the Cleveland Guardians. This is the bet that everyone is tuning in for. JP Sears on the bump for Oakland. We're going to fade Sears by taking under 3.5 on a strikeout total. Low number, but not low enough, goddammit. He could be on a pitch count in this one. A bit of an odd spring for Sears with an 11-day gap between his last 2 starts in spring training, where he threw 34 and 33 pitches. I'm sure the A's would be happy to get 3 innings out of him here. Either way, he's not a big strikeout guy. 10 appearances with the A's last season. He topped this number of 3.5 strikeouts just 3 times. And Cleveland, the third lowest strikeout percentage coming into action today. Great discipline at the plate from the Guardians. Sears, under 3.5 strikeouts. All right, next up, we're on to the NBA, and it is the return of the CTP sweet spot. Not too many more opportunities left to play this one. Of course, I'm talking about fading the Miami Heat after a win. That's exactly what we're going to do. Take the Pistons plus 12.5 at home versus Miami here. The return of the CTP sweet spot. It is, of course, fading the Miami Heat after a win. A lot of money on this season. This is a situation Miami is in this one. They won their last game this season, 11-26-3 ATS after a win. Also as a favorite, they are a brutal bet, especially as a favorite of 6 or more points. 4-15-1 against the spread for Miami. And you dig into some stats here, and it might surprise you to hear the defense and rebounding advantage goes to the Pacers. Last 10 games, 15th versus 28th in opponent EFG percentage, 6th versus 27 in opponent three-point percentage, 7 versus 25 in offensive rebound percentage, all in favor of the Pacers. Give me Detroit plus 12.5. Whoa, we are moving right along here on chasing that paper. Next up, we go down to Houston, where the Denver Nuggets are in 10, and I'm going to take the Nuggets to cover as a 9-point favorite versus the Rockets. Denver, the Nuggets, they are the Rockets' daddy. 10 straight wins over Houston, including 2 20-point wins this season and 5 straight by double digits. This has been a CTP sweet spot. Fading Houston as a big dog, as a dog of 8 or more points. They're on a slide that seemed to go 6-18 against the spread. You dig into some stats here. Just a disgraceful stretch of defense for the Rockets. Dead last in opponent EFG percentage over the last 10 games. The Nuggets are third. The Snot Rockets allowing a ton of threes, a ton of free throws, a ton of points in the paint, a ton of points off turnovers. They're getting killed absolutely everywhere. So big question coming into this one, is Jokic going to play? Thing to keep in mind here, guys, his availability is being factored into this spread here at 11 Eastern, the time of this show. So keep in mind, Nuggets, last time they played in Houston a little over a month ago, they were favored by 12 points in that one. So if Jokic does end up playing, this number will be on the move and we get a nice discount. But if he doesn't, I'm fine with this number of -9 as they look to wrap up the top seed in the West. Denver Nuggets, -9. All right, let's bring things home with a swing. We are swingers around here at chasing that paper. Haven't done one of these in a little while. I like Steph Curry, 35 or more points. That one's going off at +225 at home versus the OKC Thunder tonight, who he has absolutely lit up this season. Games of 40 and 38 points against OKC this season. And the Thunder are getting absolutely cooked by opposing guards here. Last 10 games versus guards. Last in points allowed while allowing the most threes and the most free throw attempts. Around 65% of Curry's points are scored from 3 and at the line this season. And I think we should expect a bounce back from Steph Curry here. Didn't look so good his last time out. 2 of 14 from 3 and a loss to the Nuggets in his most recent game. Versus a brutal defense tonight with a lot on the line in terms of playoff positioning. Expect Curry to be extremely locked in. Steph Curry, 35 or more, +225. Woo! 7 total picks in less than 7 minutes, too. How about that? Not going to get that anywhere else. Well, maybe you will. 7-0 last night, though. I don't think it's the best show in show history, but definitely a top 3. So hopefully go 7-0 here again tonight. That'd be special. Okay, if you're looking to tail any of my action, if you're looking to fade any of my action, or just place bets of your own, the choice quite simply is yours. I recommend placing that action over at BetMGM. Let me tell you a little bit about them. It's never been easier to bet with confidence. That's because the king of sportsbooks is giving you a can't-miss first bet offer with up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets. Sign up with BetMGM using the promo code VIBONUS and get a first bet offer of up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. That's VIBONUS, all one word, no spaces. for a first bet offer of up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets. If you don't win, just use that code VIBonus. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older to wager. Offers for new customers only. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. All right, a couple topics going to weigh in on here. So something got my attention there on Twitter, and I sent out a tweet about it, and that got a lot of attention. So let's talk a little bit about the Dallas Mavericks here, who are potentially going to shut it down for the remainder of the season. I saw this tweet go out yesterday, if you can bring that up, Tito. So per Shams, the Mavericks are seriously considering shutting down Luka and Kyrie to push for a top 10 pick. So they're just going to give up. They're just going to quit the rest of the season. 3 games remaining, and this is everything that is wrong with the NBA. You don't see this at any other level of the sport, and it's turning fans off, where teams simply pull the plug and stop trying. You've seen it with the Portland Trail Blazers. They sent Damian Lillard home. You don't think fans who pay for tickets would have liked to have seen Damian Lillard come to town? Watch him play, one of the top 75 players of all time? What was the point of the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Pistons even showing up to play this season? They didn't even try. Like I said, you don't see this at any other level of the sport. And the pathetic thing about this is that it's just become common for fans to accept this, for some fans to defend. A lot of people are on my side and do agree that it's a disgrace and it is completely pathetic. But I do have some pushback, people saying, well, Joe, it's actually kind of smart that they're doing this. And that's the pathetic thing about this, is that this is viewed as smart, where the paying fan is being completely and totally ripped off. So let's take a look at this situation for the Dallas Mavericks. 3 games remaining in the season. So let's get this straight. The Mavs, they went to the NBA final or Western Conference Finals last season. They went all in on Kyrie Irving, traded every asset, decent asset that they had essentially to get him. They're 1 game out of a play-in spot, but instead of trying to get into the playoffs, into the play-in, they would rather give up and quit so that they can potentially get a top 10 pick. Not the top overall pick, not a top 3, maybe a top 10 pick. And yes, I realize if they don't get a top 10 pick, that pick ends up going to the Knicks. But still, that is a complete and total disgrace. Luka, one of the biggest attractions in all of sports, you're just going to send him home for the season? I do think sometimes the players with this load management stuff and rest management and bullshit, injury management, whatever in the hell you want to call it, the players get a bad rap with this. I think sometimes the players do want to play, but the teams do look to sit them. And it just bugs me that this is an accepted part of the culture within the NBA, and I don't know if there's any fixing it. You don't see this in any other sport. Some teams, they'll put themselves in a position to lose, but even in the NFL this past season, all the Houston Texans need to do is lose that final game, and they probably should have. No one would have cared either way, but they showed up, they tried. The players cared, they wanted to win. You don't see this in any other sport. In the NBA, they're not doing anything to fix this. The rules came out with the new CBA. We're going to have some in-season tournament. I'll wait to see it before I have some type of opinion on that, but in the new CBA, a player must play in 65 games to be eligible for an all-NBA team. I don't know. I guess that's kind of a start, but a perfectly healthy player can still miss 17 games. The guy got to play. Like, you're incentivizing a guy to get to that 65-game mark. Why don't you do something to address the actual issue? How about eliminating back-to-backs? Do you know how many times this season the Golden State Warriors have rested their entire starting lineup in the second game of a back-to-back? Get rid of them. Get them off the schedule altogether. How about some type of rule where you limit the amount of games where a player can sit simply due to resting or simply due to rest management? It's complete and total bullshit. And to be fair, the 82-game schedule is absolutely ridiculous. We don't need this. I couldn't play 82 games. It's tough on a player's body. I know that they used to do that, but players are more athletic. They jump higher. They run faster these days. So this all isn't on the players, but they're never going to cut down. They should have went down to 72 games. But we're sitting here at 82 games, a ton of back-to-backs. And it's a big money grab. Everyone knows this. I understand that the NBA, it's a business and they're there to make money. But are fans of the Indiana Pacers going to riot if the Detroit Pistons come to town one less game per year? I don't think so. So, yeah, the NBA doing nothing to address this whatsoever. It's really turning fans off. The playoffs are going to be fantastic. At the highest level of sport, it is absolutely great. There's no doubt about that. But I think fans are getting turned off by it. You know, a player can sign a contract. Look at Kevin Durant. What did he sign? A 4 or 5 year deal with the Nets? A year into it, he says, I want to be traded to this team and this team only. The Phoenix Suns. Okay, Kevin, we'll do that for you. Never mind that you signed a contract with us. What about James Harden when he's leaving the Rockets? I want to be traded to the Nets or to the Sixers. They trade him to the Nets. Things aren't working out there. Okay, let me try the Sixers now. They trade him right to the Sixers. A couple of years before that, Anthony Davis in the middle of a season. I want to be traded to the Lakers and only the Lakers. Okay, don't worry about your contract. We will trade you directly to the Lakers. So it's turning fans off. Who knows? I blame a lot of it on Adam Silver. I think he gets a really big pass here because he's a nice guy. I guess whenever I hear somebody criticize him on TV, they always start with, Adam Silver, I like him. He's a nice guy. But David Stern was a complete and total hard ass. Nobody liked him. But he got shit done. And I had a thought here also that, Major League Baseball is a sport right now, really hot. World Baseball Classic, everybody loves the new rules. The games are about a half hour faster. I'm wondering, it's not going to happen overnight, but over the next over the next decade maybe, could baseball surpass the NBA? The NBA not very fan-friendly, is it? You buy tickets for a game. The team decides to stop trying. They send their players home for the rest of the season. Totally pathetic. I think it's a disgrace, but yeah, I tune in and mainly for betting purposes. I do work in the betting industry after all, but the playoffs are going to be great. So let's just get there and I can stop complaining because people are probably sick of hearing me complain about the NBA. Okay, guys, let me tell you a little bit about the Vegas Insider app. It gives you all the major sports betting odds at your fingertips along with picks and expert breakdowns. If you want more Vegas Insider content like our shows, videos, and podcasts, you can find it all on the app in the media section. Download the Vegas Insider app on Apple or Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. Woo! All right. So interesting question. I was wondering which way people were going to lean with this. We put up a poll on the Vegas Insider Twitter feed this morning, asking people, what is the hardest job? Being an NFL quarterback or a Major League Baseball catcher? And by a fairly wide margin here, 70% of the people there are saying NFL quarterback is the hardest job. And I couldn't tell you guys, you're dead wrong on this. The hardest job in professional sports, let me repeat, the hardest job in professional sports is catcher in Major League Baseball. It's not a goalie in hockey. It's not quarterback in the NFL. And it's not even close. There's no honor in being a catcher. The catcher is a forgotten player. They've had them hitting 7th, 8th, or 9th in the batting order. Only a handful of these guys really stand out. And look at what these guys do to get through a game. They got to squat behind home plate for 2.5 hours. They have to catch 100-mile-per-hour fastballs. You have to form a relationship with 12 different pitchers on the team. Never mind guys that are coming and going from AAA and guys that are getting traded and coming to the team. You need to know a scouting report on every single hitter so that you can put a game plan together with the pitcher. You actually have to field the position. You got motherfuckers trying to run you over at home plate. You got motherfuckers stealing bases. You got an umpire with bad breath and BO breathing down your neck for the entire game, annoying the hell out of you. And oh yeah, you also have to hit 4 times a night. And there's no honor, there's no glory in being a catcher in baseball. How hard would that be on your body? You try squatting for that long. Meanwhile, the guy that gets all the glory, probably the best job in all of sports, the designated hitter. You only have to work on one thing, hitting, which is what? The funnest part of the sport. right? And they get all the glory. The catcher does so much more work compared to a designated hitter. If I'm a catcher on a Major League Baseball team, I got a lot of resentment for the designated hitter. That's a guy that gets paid a lot more money, too. So, yeah, there's no glory in being a catcher, but it is, without a doubt, the hardest position in all of sports. There's no debate, if you ask me. Okay, guys, it is now time for today's Handicapper Heat Check presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. MLB profits leader ASA is mining gems with a perfect 5-0 start to the Major League Baseball season. Tim Michael, 11-2 NHL win streak, and Scott Rickenbach on a 5-1 NBA run and hit 4 straight NHL winners. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for tonight's best bets. Set your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, betters. Woo! Whew. That's it. In and out in about 18 minutes here. Fairly quick shows when I'm flying solo. Ian McMillan is going to be back with me tomorrow, though. We're going to have our preview for the big UFC pay-per-view going on Saturday night. Speaking of which, a major disservice by the UFC to those of us with young children who have to wake up on Easter morning for the traditional Easter egg hunt. We'll be operating on a couple hours of sleep then, but hey, it is what it is. Probably a good problem to have, right? So, yeah, that does it for today's show. Thank you to Tito for producing. Thank you, dear viewer, for checking us out today. Best of luck with your bets tonight, unless, of course, you are fading me. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Yeah! Woo!